I asked my best friend Lily to try on the bridesmaid dress. She put on my wedding gown instead. On the morning of my wedding, Lily and my fiancé walked out of the same hotel room together. Clothes disheveled, the staff stared, my parents wailed. Lily stood in my ruined wedding gown, the torn lace, the marks on her skin. Her mouth said sorry, her eyes said I won. My father kicked Ethan in the thigh. The staff held him back. Ethan got up off the floor, hugged me gently.
Emma, I'm sorry, but what's done is done. Please, let us have your blessing.
Shameless. I could see it clearly. He was satisfied. Everyone expected me to slap him. Instead, I nodded. The venue's already booked. Use it. Get married today. Right here.
Emma, I knew you were a generous person.
My parents nearly collapsed.
Emma, you're just letting them go?
I pulled my parents around the corner, opened my hand. 2 broken pieces of the bracelet lay in my palm.
Just now? It broke just now?
Dad's fingers were trembling.
That can't be right.
I nodded. My parents' faces changed instantly. Terror. Dad grabbed my hand and pulled.
We're moving. Now! Right now!
We passed the cardboard standees by the hotel entrance, the ones with Ethan and me printed life-size and wedding clothes. Dad kicked Ethan's. Mom grabbed mine and tucked it under her arm. She was already on the phone with the wedding coordinator before we reached the parking lot, telling him to strip every photo, every banner, every sign with my name on it from the venue. I deleted Ethan's number, every photo, every message thread. We left the hotel in a dead sprint. By that night, we had packed up our lives and left the city entirely. It all came down to what Grandma had left behind. Grandma was the most gifted seer in the whole town. Big things, small things, it didn't matter. Lost cats, coming disasters. She'd called every single one. Some people said she wasn't fully human, that she was something else wearing a human face, because in 99 years of living, she was never once wrong. She died on the clear winter afternoon. She was sitting in the rocking chair in the yard, one hand resting on our old dog. Then she called my name.
Little Emma.
I was 8. I walked over. She lifted the bracelet and tied it around mine.
Keep this on. Don't ever take it off. If it breaks someday, it means it stops something from reaching you. Something enormous. You leave immediately, you hear me? Get as far as you can from whoever was closest to you when it broke.
I didn't understand. What kind of enormous thing, Grandma?
She looked at me for a long moment. Then, without teeth, she said 2 words slowly.
Hollow Creek.
Just that. Then she leaned back in the chair and closed her eyes and was gone. The whole region turned out for her funeral. 7 towns worth of people who mattered. I told Mom and Dad everything she'd said. I asked them what Hollow Creek was. They went still. Then they closed the subject, packed our things, and moved us to the city. That was the memory I'd buried for years, until now. The story about me, Ethan, and Lily spread everywhere. At first, people took my side. Lily was the villain. A best friend who slept with her best friend's groom on the wedding night was as low as it got. Then people found out I hadn't fought back. I'd handed over the groom and the wedding without so much as a raised voice. The narrative flipped. Now I was the coward, the doormat, the girl who let her best friend steal her man and just stood there. I didn't care. Let them talk. Lily became Mrs. Ethan Mercer in the ceremony that was supposed to be mine. She was thrilled with herself. Her Instagram hadn't stopped moving since that day. Close-ups of the engagement ring, the $100,000 check from Ethan's parents, Ethan down on one knee fitting her with a crystal-heeled shoe, closet after closet of designer clothes and accessories.
Grateful for everything. Grateful I was brave enough to go after what I wanted. And glad I you, what I've read. In this life, you only get one shot. Take it.
Ethan played along, flooding his own feed with couple photos. Mutual friends liked everything. A few left comments on Lily's posts. Guess some people just aren't meant for this life, huh? Lily replied with a grinning emoji. I saw it all and laughed out loud. She had no idea what was coming. I shook my head and put the phone down. The world keeps score eventually. We didn't just move across town, we moved halfway across the state. The new place was out of the way, small population. Mom said any nearby city would have been fine, but Dad wouldn't hear it. He had something in his head that made him insist on going hundreds of miles. Mom gave up arguing, we went. I trusted Grandma's warning, but my parents' reaction still made me curious. That night at dinner, I asked, what exactly is the catastrophe Grandma was talking about? The table went quiet. Mom put a piece of pot roast on Dad's plate.
She's grown up now, we can tell her.
Dad hesitated, then he nodded.
Go ahead.
My mind was already running. A catastrophe. Was it a natural disaster? A flood? Some kind of earthquake?
Hollow Creek.
Mom said. Her voice was flat and serious.
You remember what Grandma said?
Yes.
Hollow Creek was a small community, maybe 300 people, 12 miles from where we grew up.
She stopped.
One night, every single person in that community was found hanged. The whole settlement gone.
The warmth at the dinner table just evaporated. Hanged. Every one of them. I'd imagined floods, fires. Not this. Why? I asked. Mom and Dad exchanged a look. Something got in, they said.
At the same time?
I finished dinner in a fog. I kept turning it over. No wonder Grandma had pressed that bracelet into my hands before she died. It was meant for exactly this, and she'd seen it coming, decades before it happened. Then a thought hit me. If the bracelet protected me from whatever was attached to Ethan, why didn't it break earlier? Why only now, after he and Lily spent the night together? Had Grandma calculated that too? Had she seen even that variable coming? I was still in my head about it when my phone rang. Unknown number. I picked up.
Emma, are you okay?
Ethan. I hung up and blocked the number before the call screen even faded. I wasn't touching anything connected to him. Not anymore. After that, I stopped answering unknown numbers entirely. I was too scared not to. Meanwhile, Lily kept performing for the internet. Designer hauls, luxury hotel stays, jewelry unboxings that went on for minutes. The rich wife content never stopped. Then she got bored of showing off and decided to come back for me. Late one night, Lily went live. Full glam, draped in an expensive fur coat, sinking into an equally expensive couch. The comments poured in, all compliments. She smiled and nodded at the camera.
Just wanted to hang out with you guys tonight. No agenda.
She walked through a few handbags, answered some questions, and then someone in the chat brought up my name. She leaned into it immediately.
Her? I mean, some people just aren't built for this life, I guess. The meal was basically on the table, and she still couldn't figure out how to eat it. As for us being best friends, I don't know, did she ever actually treat me like one? She met Ethan and didn't say a word to me for weeks, only told me once they were already together, like she was afraid I'd compete. Can't help it if love finds a way. Where is she now? Honestly, her family was probably terrified once I became a mercer. They ran out the same night as the wedding. Probably thought I'd come after them once I had money.
I stared at the screen at this stranger, wearing my best friend's face. I'd been that blind for that long. She was still making things up about me, but the live chat was quick. Someone spotted something. Lily, your wardrobe behind you. I think it just moved. Wait, I saw that too. Something's in there. Is that a dog? Go check. Lily missed the comments at first, then the chat flooded with it. Everyone was telling her to watch her back. I saw it too. The wardrobe door was cracked open an inch. Something was there in the gap. The angle was wrong in a specific way that made my stomach turn. Because if those were eyes looking through the crack, they were positioned at the very bottom of the door, almost at floor level. Lily rolled her eyes at the chat. She pulled the fur coat tighter around her shoulders.
You guys are always trying to scare me. Nobody else is home tonight, okay? Stop it.
Then she stood up, heels clicking against the floor, and walked straight to the wardrobe with the phone pointed at it. See? Nothing. She yanked the door open. A man in a black jacket tumbled out and hit the floor hard. He was wearing a black face mask. Expensive jewelry scattered around him when he landed. A burglar, clearly. But he didn't run. He pressed himself into the corner of the room and curled up there, eyes unfocused, face the color of old paper.
Don't kill me. Please. I didn't mean it. Please don't let her look at me again.
He was staring at the air just above Lily's shoulder. He threw himself forward and started slamming his forehead against the floor in front of her feet.
I'm begging you. Please. I'll do anything. Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
He kept going until his forehead was slick with blood, faster and faster. Lily stumbled back, hand pressed over her chest. Then she ran, screaming.
Help! There's someone in my house! Help!
The phone got knocked off whatever surface it was resting on. Feed went sideways, then dark. I sat there staring at my screen. That man had seen something that had broken him open in seconds. Whatever it wasn't in the frame. I thought about what Mom had told me about Hollow Creek. The feeling in my gut wasn't good. Something was already inside the Mercer house, and whatever it was, it had started showing itself. Lily's break-in went viral. Ethan rushed home that night. The moment he appeared on her live stream, I closed the app. I wasn't watching anything that had his face in it, not with what was coming. My phone buzzed. Sophie, my college roommate. She'd lived in the same dorm as Lily and me. Emma, I heard about what Lily did. I'm so sorry. You doing okay? I typed back, thanks, then another message. She's disgusting for what she did to you. Listen, I've been thinking, do you want to do something about it? I have an idea. I paused. Sophie and Lily had always been close too. We all lived on the same floor. I didn't want to go near Lily, not now. She was sleeping next to Ethan every night, and whatever was coming for him, I wasn't putting myself anywhere in that radius. I turned Sophie down. She kept pushing, kept asking if I wanted payback, kept dangling this idea she had. I put her on mute. Mom and Dad had shifted into a different mode entirely. They'd been making supply runs every day. The apartment was filling up. Food, cooking oil, canned goods, bottled water, snacks they knew I liked. Even a few boxes of the meat-free stuff I sometimes ate. Are we preparing for the apocalypse? I asked, watching Dad stack water bottles along the wall. He wiped his hands on his jeans and slid a case of my favorite drinks into the fridge.
You read too many of those end-of-the-world novels, but yeah, it's something like that this time.
Mom added,
We don't leave this apartment for the next month. You call into work, and if they won't give you the time off, you quit. Being alive is the only thing that matters right now. Cut every thread that could connect us to what's happening over there.
Dad turned around and looked at me.
And I know you've been watching that woman's streams. That stops now.
I nodded and blocked Lily's account right there in front of them. Dad took a folding chair out to the balcony and sat there smoking. He watched the sky turn red and orange at the edge of the horizon. He exhaled slowly.
Someone's going to pay for this one.
We shut the door and stayed inside. Mom and Dad had never given me the full story on Hollow Creek, just the broad outline. But a whole community hanged in a single night, and no one could explain it, and no weapon was ever found. Whatever had done it wasn't human. Meanwhile, Lily and Ethan kept living like they'd won something. Lunch at expensive restaurants, nights on the water with friends, all of it posted, all of it bright. Until the middle of that month, when the haunting started. Even with Lily blocked, the story found me. Influencers were covering it. Accounts I still followed were sharing clips. The Mercer estate was haunted. It was everywhere. The Mercers all lived together in the same mansion, a sprawling place with more rooms than any family needed. One night, Lily woke up to the sound of crying. She was half asleep, didn't register it at first, but the crying got louder, higher. It cut through the air like something sharp. She finally noticed it was coming from her own balcony. She hadn't drawn the curtains before bed. She looked toward the glass. A woman in a white sundress was sitting on the balcony railing, back turned, knees pulled up, sobbing, long hair down to her waist. The balcony was on the 4th floor. Lily screamed. By the time the housekeeper and the house manager got there, the balcony door was locked from the inside. Nothing there, no one. The Mercers told her she'd imagined it. Then the second thing happened. Ethan's younger brother had always walked in his sleep. That night, he dreamed of a girl in a white dress crouching beside the mansion's outdoor pool. He was curious. He walked over in his sleep and put a hand on her shoulder. She turned around. High-pitched, it kept building, folding back on itself, bouncing off the walls of the whole estate like a loop that wouldn't close. When Ethan's brother came back to himself, the girl was gone. He looked for her. Something grabbed him from behind and dragged him toward the pool. Underwater, he couldn't make out her face, but 2 fingers hooked into his eye sockets and pressed like they were trying to pull them out. The security guard heard him and pulled him out. 1 incident could be a coincidence. 3 in a row was something else. Lily had talked about all of this on a live stream before Ethan shut it down and told her family business stayed inside the family. But the damage was already done. The story was out. I listened to a content creator break the whole thing down and felt the cold settle into my back. And this was just the beginning? I didn't want to think about what could be worse than an entire settlement of 300 people hanged in one night. But I was starting to understand that we were going to find out. I opened my nightstand drawer and took out the 2 halves of the broken bracelet. I held them in the light. Grandma had worn this for 99 years. She passed it to me, and it lasted less than 10. It stopped one thing on the way to me, and now it was done. What stopped the next one? My phone rang. Sophie. I picked up. Yeah? Emma, you've been following the stuff with Lily's family, right? Yeah. What do you make of it? Don't you think someone did this to them? Because How else does a family like theirs just start having all these incidents back to back? I frowned. You think I did something? No, not at all. I just mean, karma. She paused. Actually, Emma, I wanted to ask you something. I know your grandma was this incredibly gifted woman. People said she could predict basically anything. I know she passed away, but is there anyone in your family who has that same ability? Or do you know a minister or a priest or anyone like that who might be able to help? No. I hung up. I sat with that for a moment. The only person I'd ever told about Grandma's gift was Lily. Connecting the dots didn't take long. Sophie was Lily's informant. The earlier texts, the "let me help you get revenge" messages, those were probably meant to pull something out of me so Lily could use it online. When that didn't work, she'd tried a different angle. Now there was a crisis and Lily wanted me to solve it. Not a chance. That night at dinner, I told my parents what had happened. They sat with it, faces tight, not speaking. Finally, Dad said,
"Your grandma saw this coming too."
I nearly choked on my food. I grabbed my water and took a long drink.
She said the disaster couldn't be stopped. The pendant could only cover one person. Everyone else would have to find their own way through. As for your friend, tell her to find the old chapel on the South Hill outside their city. There's someone there who might be able to help. Whether it works or not is up to them.
Dad was a more generous man than I was. I hadn't been planning to do anything for Lily. But the words were already out, so I passed them along. I sent the message through Sophie and told her to get it to the Mercer family. They moved fast. A team was sent to the chapel that same day. We stayed inside and kept our heads down. When we did go out, we wore masks and kept to ourselves. None of our new neighbors had any idea who we were. Nobody connected us to the family being laughed at online for running away from a wedding disaster. All of it was Grandma's instruction, according to my parents. We thought passing along that tip might change something for them. We were wrong. A man died at the Mercer estate, Ethan's father. It hit the news fast. Everyone online was trying to figure out if it was murder or something else. It happened the night of his 70th birthday. The family had thrown an elaborate dinner. The guest of honor cut the cake, said his goodnight, and went upstairs to rest. He was found dead in his bathroom, drowned in the toilet. The police noted that the evidence around him suggested a sustained struggle. His face had scratch marks on it. Every piece of physical evidence pointed to one conclusion, one that none of the investigators would say out loud. Either Mr. Mercer had done it to himself, or there had been a hand reaching up from inside the toilet bowl, gripping his face until he went under. A birthday dinner turned into a funeral. Dad stared at the news article on his phone. Something's wrong. According to your grandma, even if the chapel priest couldn't stop the disaster entirely, he should have been able to buy them time. But this happened almost immediately. That doesn't track. We looked at each other around the table. Mom let out a long breath. Maybe that's just how it was meant to go. Dad shook his head slowly. Or maybe they never found him. Emma, call Sophie. Don't tell her where we are. I nodded and dialed. Sophie picked up on the second ring. She sounded worn down. Hey Emma, I need to ask you something, I said. The chapel priest I told you about, did you pass that along to them? Oh, that. She went quiet for a beat. Dad crossed his arms and narrowed his eyes. He already suspected she'd either not told them or gotten it wrong. Sophie's voice came out unsteady. Emma, can I ask, where are you right now? The whole room went alert. Mom and Dad both leaned in, listening. I kept my voice flat. That's not what I asked. Answer my question first. Sophie took a breath. I did tell them. I passed it along. But Lily told me afterward that the priest, he was frightened to death. He what? Mom and Dad looked at each other. I had never seen that expression on either of their faces before. Pure, unfiltered fear. Tell me exactly what happened, I said. According to Sophie, Lily had told Ethan immediately, and the next morning Ethan sent someone up to the South Hill Chapel to find the priest. They brought him to the estate that same evening. He was thin, black ceremonial robe, long hair held up loosely with a wooden stick. He didn't look surprised to see them at all. He told his assistant to feed the cat, grabbed a bag, and walked down the mountain. He surveyed the estate first and told the family this was a sign of something catastrophic approaching. The Mercers panicked. They cleared out that same night and left him there alone to work. He covered the mansion in wards, mixed strange liquids, and drew patterns on the floors. By the time he was done, the estate looked less like a home and more like a giant prop from a horror movie. His whole night passed without a single sound heard by the security team stationed outside. They assumed it meant success. The next morning, the whole family pushed inside. Everything looked exactly as it had been left, except the priest was gone. They split up to search the place. Ethan found him in the kitchen, specifically inside the large food storage bin, rocking back and forth, already gone somewhere in his mind. The food inside the bin had turned completely black. His face was the color of a bruise. His pupils were spinning independently of each other. He kept whispering,
My fault. Don't come back, please. Don't. I'm sorry. My fault.
Ethan reached for him to ask what had happened. The priest and drove his own thumbs into his eyes. I didn't say anything for a long time after Sophie finished. Emma, Sophie said carefully, is there anything else? Any other way to fix this? Dad made a sharp gesture. Cut it off. No, I said, and hung up. Dad slapped both hands on his knees and stood up.
We're done here. We need to leave this state.
We didn't even take the supplies. We abandoned everything in the apartment, bought plane tickets on the way to the airport, and got out. By the time Lily tracked down our address, she showed up to an empty unit. After we landed, I heard through a mutual friend that she'd actually gone there. She and Ethan had tried hundreds of different phone numbers trying to reach me. My phone filtered unknown callers straight to voicemail. More bad news came from the Mercers. Ethan's brother died. He was found hanged in his apartment, a deep ligature mark around his neck. Police searched every inch of the space. No rope, no cord, nothing to explain how it had been done. Lily stopped performing for the camera. All the bravado was gone. The Mercer family scattered. Some moved to new addresses. Others flew overseas. A few filed for police protection. Everyone was running as far from the estate as they could get. Lily and Ethan cycled through a string of priests and ministers, keeping them in the house around the clock. Dad watched one clip of it and said flatly that none of it would work. Back in Hollow Creek, hundreds of people had died in the same space on the same night. Strength in numbers hadn't mattered at all. The Hollow Creek story was the kind of thing that didn't have a clean explanation. Grandma had sensed the disaster coming and gone to the community to ask whether any of them had done something wrong, something that might have earned them this. They denied everything. They called her a liar. That same night, a boy from Hollow Creek went missing. The whole community organized a search. They found him deep inside a thicket of thorned brush at the edge of the woods, the kind that grows in dense, tangled clusters, roots and trunks locked together, every branch lined with long, thick spines. Getting anything out of the center of a growth like that meant cutting it all down. The boy's voice was coming from the very middle. They chopped their way through to reach him. When they pulled him out, he was gone in the head. He couldn't answer questions. He just kept repeating one phrase.
I'm sorry. Please don't miss, please.
A few days later, the Hollow Creek community came back to Grandma. 300 people, heads low. They asked for her help. She shook her head. Too late. Within days, it happened. Every person in Hollow Creek was found hanged in their own home. No weapons found, same as Ethan's brother. One night, everyone gone. Grandma investigated afterward and eventually found the truth. A woman had passed through Hollow Creek while traveling. She was mentally ill, unstable in her condition, sometimes lucid and sometimes not. The community leader's eldest son had seen her and decided he wanted to marry her. During one of her clear-headed periods, she refused him, plainly and firmly. She tried to run, but the whole community helped keep her in place. They cornered her, trapped her. They locked her in an old storage shed at the edge of the property. The son's plan was to break her down in 2 days and make her comply. A week passed before he showed up with a bowl of plain noodles to negotiate. He found a rotting body hanging from the shed's ceiling beam. Her neck had stretched long from the drop. She must have lost her grip on reality at some point that first night. Sometime before morning, she had hanged herself. I turned it over in my mind. Hollow Creek, everyone hanged. Ethan's brother, hanged. No weapons recovered either time. Same pattern. 2 disasters, decades apart. Was it the same presence behind both? Mom and Dad shut that line of thinking down immediately.
The less you speculate, the better.
Dad said, very serious about it.
If your grandma's bracelet hadn't taken that hit for you, you'd be in this with them right now.
That landed. If Grandma hadn't left me that bracelet, if Grandma hadn't left those specific final words, if Lily hadn't done what she did on that wedding morning, in some twisted way, Lily had stepped in front of something meant for me. That thought left me cold. More news came through. Of all the Mercer family members who had fled overseas, the one who'd gone the farthest was the first to die. Ethan's uncle, found in his overseas apartment, hanged. No explanation. I noticed the pattern. The farther the distance from the estate, the faster the death. As if something was making a point. Don't run. Lily and Ethan stopped seeing the white-dressed figure, but they were barely functioning. They launched a 24-hour live stream, just the two of them on camera constantly, asking the internet to keep them company, keep them awake, keep them present. During one stream, a comment caught Lily's eye. "Do you think this is karma for stealing your best friend's relationship?" She startled visibly.
You think so? Is it too late to apologize? She's blocked my number. What do I do?
Ethan had deteriorated. He was thin now, hollowed out. The easy confidence was completely gone. He put his face close to the camera.
Emma, I know you're out there. What happened was my fault, all of it. I ruined things with you, and now my family is falling apart. Please, if you can hear this, help us.
I heard about this through other people's screenshots and comment threads. I shook my head. Whatever was happening to the Mercer family had nothing to do with the affair. They had done something. The same kind of something the people of Hollow Creek had done. This had been building long before I ever met Ethan. Then, Ethan had a dream. In the dream, a girl took him by the hand and told him she knew somewhere good, somewhere he'd want to go. She was pretty, soft-spoken. She held his hand gently. Ethan followed without hesitation. "I want to show you something," she said. "There's a heavy stone on top of you. Lift it." Ethan looked down. There was a stone. He lifted it. "Now raise your hand and walk through this waterfall with me." He did. They passed through together. "Let's climb the hill." He nodded. They climbed, hand in hand, easy and unhurried. "There's a stream at the top. Cross it with me." The girl let go of his hand. She stepped over the water first and stood on the other bank, smiling back at him, waving him forward. Ethan nodded. "Wait for me." He was about to step across when Lily's screaming pulled him awake.
"Don't go! Don't cross it!"
Ethan's eyes cleared slowly. His mind felt thick. But on the opposite side, the girl's face had changed. Her smile had stretched too wide. Her voice dropped. "Your eyes are opening." Lily dragged him back from the rooftop ledge. She was crying hard.
"I woke up and you were gone. The front door was wide open and I found you up here. How did you get to the roof?"
Ethan turned around. The ground was 12 stories down. The height hit him like cold water. The whole sleepwalk had been recorded by the live stream camera, which was still running in their room. He worked it backward, lifting the stone, pulling off the blanket, raising his hand through the waterfall, pressing his thumb to the front door scanner, climbing the hill, walking up the staircase, crossing the stream, jumping. I heard this secondhand from people sharing clips in group chats. My hands were cold reading about it. There was no getting out of this, not for them. Lily had told Ethan everything about Grandma, including that she had been a gifted seer whose predictions had never failed. Now the two of them were searching for us obsessively. The deaths overseas kept arriving, and exactly as I had suspected, the ones who had fled the farthest died first, nearest last. Lily had been the first to encounter their presence. She'd been inside that house from the beginning. She was still alive. I told my parents the pattern I'd identified. They nodded slowly.
It might be a warning. Stay close. Don't try to escape.
So, being near the house is actually safer? They didn't answer. They kept eating. I thought about it for a day. Then I sent the observation through Sophie and told her to pass it to Lily. I didn't expect what happened next. That same night, Lily and Ethan moved back into the estate. I genuinely hadn't expected them to actually do it. Months passed. The rest of the Mercer family died or disappeared. But Lily and Ethan, inside that house they had every reason to flee, were still breathing. People on the outside started saying they'd survived, that whatever curse had attached to the family had lifted. Lily and Ethan seemed to believe it too. Word reached us eventually. The two of them had broken down completely. Neither could control themselves anymore. Basic functions gone. The estate had become uninhabitable from the inside. Trash everywhere. Insects. The kind of collapse that doesn't happen overnight. I thought it was over. Then Dad told me something he'd been sitting on. Ethan was the boy from Hollow Creek, the one who had been found inside the thorn brush, rocking, repeating, "I'm sorry," to someone who wasn't there. He'd been sent out of state to a hospital and treated. He recovered, and in recovering, he buried all of it. Chose not to remember his early childhood. A kind family had taken him in. That family was the Mercers. How do you know that? I asked.
Your grandma calculated it. She always believed there had been one survivor from Hollow Creek that night. Someone who slipped through. Looking at Ethan's age and what we know about the boy, it lines up.
I sat with that. Everything connected to me had been connected to this from the beginning. I thought it was ending. Then, reports started appearing online. People from all over the country were having the same dream. A woman in white. I looked at the comments. All of these people had one thing in common. They had all watched Lily's live streams. And that was when I finally understood what Grandma had meant by catastrophic. When the woman had been alive, she had been sick in her mind, yes, but she had been precise. Hollow Creek had been responsible, and Hollow Creek had suffered. Nobody else was touched. But now she was loose in a way she hadn't been before. The live stream, hundreds of thousands of eyes on the same screen. The signal carrying something further than any of us had understood. This wasn't contained anymore. I stared at the trending topic on my screen for a long time. Haunted dreams. Same woman in white spotted nationwide. 300 million views and climbing. Reports from multiple cities. I scrolled through the comments. Last week I saw a woman in a white dress standing on my apartment balcony. She had her back to me and she was crying. I tried to scream and nothing came out. I'm in Atlanta. I thought it was just me. She was crouching by a lake, kept asking why she'd been locked up. My boyfriend had it last night. He said she turned toward him and she had no face, just hair. He woke up. Ah! I put the phone face down on the table. Outside the window of the farmhouse inn we were staying at, there was a crooked old apple tree in the yard. Autumn wind. The ripe fruit dropped and knocked against the concrete. Mom was cooking in the kitchen. Dad was on the front step mending a fishing net. Everything around me looked quiet, almost aggressively quiet. But I knew the net wasn't over the Mercer estate anymore. It wasn't closing in on Lily and Ethan. It was closing in on hundreds of thousands of people who had opened an app one night to watch a pretty woman show off jewelry. Now I understood what Grandma had called catastrophic. After dinner, I helped Mom wash up. She saw my face and sighed. Still thinking about it? I didn't pretend otherwise. Mom, if she's really reaching everyone who watched those streams, how many people are we talking? Mom didn't answer. She set the bowls in the sink and turned the tap on. The water ran loud. When she spoke, her voice was low, like it was coming from somewhere far back. Your grandma told me something once. That woman, the one who died in that shed, she hated one thing above everything else, being falsely accused. Hollow Creek told everyone she had seduced the leader's son herself, that she had gone after him. They turned the whole story around on her, and she had nobody left to defend her. I went still. She wasn't unstable before they took her? Mom shook her head. She wasn't. She was passing through. She asked for water. That was all. Her illness came later. She lost her mind inside that shed. By the 3rd day, she was gone. By the 5th day, she was dead. What was she wearing when she came to ask for water? Mom reached over and turned off the tap. A white dress, old and washed out. I didn't ask anything else after that. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling. The low murmur of my parents' voices came through the wall of the next room. I couldn't make out words. It sounded like 2 dry leaves brushing together in wind. I turned over and picked up the broken bracelet from the nightstand. In the moonlight, the stone still looked smooth at the edges, warm almost. Grandma had worn this for 99 years. I'd had it for less than 10. It spent itself on one thing, one person. But what was next? It wouldn't repair itself. She wasn't here to give me another one. I found myself wishing I had asked her, back when I was 8 years old, standing in the yard in the winter sun. Grandma, what was her name? I dreamed that night. Not the white dress, not the woman. Grandma. She was sitting in the yard in the old rocking chair. The dog was at her feet, tail sweeping back and forth through the dead leaves. I walked over, knelt in front of her. She looked down at me. Her mouth moved slowly, the way it always had when she was thinking. Emma, she said. Grandma, what happened to her? The woman from that community. Grandma didn't answer. She reached out, pressed her hand on top of my head, light as a bird landing. You just live well, she said. That's enough. I woke up with a wet pillow. In the morning, Dad said he needed to go into town for groceries. I asked to come. The inn was 20 miles from the nearest town. The road out was unpaved, and the vans shook the whole way. Dad drove. I rode passenger. Out the window, trees lined the field, bright orange fruit hanging heavy on every branch. Near the edge of town, Dad said, your mom and I talked last night. About what? About taking you home. Not now, once things quiet down a little more. He kept his eyes on the road. Your grandma's grave needs tending. He paused.
Also, before she passed, she left a lockbox. It was under the floorboards beneath her bed. We never touched it all these years.
What's in it?
Don't know. Your mom thinks it was meant for you.
I didn't push. Dad pulled up along the market street and got out to look at produce. I stayed in the van. My phone buzzed. Sophie. We hadn't spoken in a long time. Her message was short. Emma, Ethan and Lily, did you hear? I stared at it. My finger hovered over the screen. After a long moment, I typed back. Yeah. She was typing for a while. Then the message came through in pieces, like she was stopping and starting. Ethan had tried to cross the street last Tuesday night during a shift change for the care staff. He'd gotten up to the third-floor balcony of the estate while muttering, "Just one more step and I'm home." The caregiver tried to hold him back. Couldn't. He went over the railing. He survived. Both legs broken. In the ICU. Lily was fully gone by then. She didn't recognize anyone. Every day she sat in the corner of a room, clutching one of Ethan's old jackets and repeating the same sentence.
It wasn't me. I didn't lock you in. Don't come for me. It wasn't me.
I didn't reply. Sophie sent one more message. Do you think if you hadn't stepped back that morning, if you hadn't given them the wedding, it would be you in that hospital right now? I pressed the lock button. Outside the window, Dad was crouching at a produce stand, picking through fruit one piece at a time. He'd gotten older. 2 years of running had turned half his hair white. Mom, too. The lines on her face were deeper than I remembered from before all of this started. They hadn't done anything wrong. They had just listened to an old woman in a rocking chair, and they had believed her. And they had spent every year since using everything they had to keep me safe. From the town where we grew up, to the city, to another state, to this farmhouse at the end of a dirt road. They ran every time she told them to run. I got out of the van. Dad, get a couple extra pounds. Mom likes the sour ones. Ethan died the first week of December. Snow on the ground. Sophie forwarded a screenshot of a conversation with another old classmate. Ethan hadn't made it through surgery. Infections set in. His organs gave out one by one. Lily was taken in by her parents. From what people heard, she was still the same. No medication kept her calm for long. Her mother watched her around the clock. The Mercer estate sat empty. It had been listed for sale for 6 months. No takers. People who drove past at night said they could hear crying from inside. I deleted the screenshot. The apple tree outside the farmhouse had gone bare. Just gray branches against a gray sky. Mom was smoking meats inside. Dad was at the outdoor market, picking up supplies for the new year. The small town was quiet. Nobody here knew that 3 people living in a rented room down the road had walked out of something enormous. And nobody knew that what they had walked out of was still moving, still spreading, outward and outward. The trending topic about the shared dream had been quietly removed from search results, not because the situation had resolved, because it had gotten too strange to leave visible. But I knew. In private, in the dark, in bedrooms across the country, the dreams were still happening. 5 years later, the disaster, in most people's minds, had become something between a footnote and a rumor. The people who had screamed into their screens during those live streams had moved on. Their fear dissolved.